Hi, my name is Megan Jamison, and for my technology tool number 2, I chose to use Amplify Polypads, or it's called Mathagon Polypad. And with Mathagon Polypad, it is an online virtual manipulative center for math. I have used it because a student showed it to me a couple of years ago. I caught them playing on it, just being creative and messing around with the number blocks because you can make like the number tiles and cubes, and so they were creating a little playground out of cubes for themselves. And I was like, what are you doing? They told me what it was, and I got to explore it a little bit with that student. So it was a really cool co-learning experience for me. I use it a lot right now with students who still struggle with number sense, so it's an easy access to have all their numbers cubed, so their hundreds, their tens, their ones blocks. But then it also is a great introduction and a great tool for me for fractions. Fractions are a really big 4th grade standard, and so for us, fraction bars are the easiest way for us to show equivalence. I could show a bar of 1/6 and then show students how that bar then also relates to 1/12. It opens up a lot of different resources for students to play around with. They can separate them, they can delete some of them, and it really makes it an easy way for students to visualize what's going on in math. I found that when we had our tests and even when we were doing practice problems, students were pulling up the virtual manipulatives rather than the handheld ones because they felt more comfortable manipulating the virtual ones. So for example, in this, I have 3 6s equal to 6/12. Well, then I can also relate it to, not 1/1, but 1/2, and I can split that 1/2, delete it, and move it, and it will link with the other ones to show that these 3 are all equivalent fractions. My students had a really good opportunity to use them at home. It was a website that they could show their parents. It was easy to get onto. All you had to do was search it. Now, there's more than just fractions, of course. There are different tools such as these games and applications. We are about to enter a whole unit where clocks and fractions go hand in hand. So being able to pull up a clock that's geared, but then also be able to pull up a fraction circle and see the different sets of degrees is really helpful, because then my students can mask them and see, okay, well, if I have a clock that is the same size as this, I see that 12 is here. If I want a 90-degree angle, I would have to go to 12:15. Well, ideally they would, but it's just another tool for students to use and recognize that say, okay, well, every 15 minutes is a 90 degrees. Every 30 minutes is 180 degrees on the clock. And they have different types of clocks, too, that I really enjoy using. So Polypad is a great game, or is a great tool for accessibility, but my kids also just like to play on it sometimes. And I let them because they're still exploring with math tools and exploring with different shapes and getting an opportunity to be creative in ways that they don't normally get the chance to. So like, for example, I made a little chair, and they can put little cubes on it to represent people. They love getting to do that. So for me, Polypad is a must-have in the classroom, and I've found that my students understand and want to participate more with a manipulative if they can control it online. And it provides accessibility for everybody. So thank you.